Welcome to Cornerstone Horsemanship. I'm Greta Cummings.
And I'm Sheri Billings. And today in our Tip Tuesday, we're going to talk a little bit about softness. Just the simple act of leading off.
Yeah, and with softness also comes in lightness. And one thing that we were asked when we went to the clinic with Tom Mowry this summer was how light or soft is our horse when we lead them off. And we had to reevaluate that.
We sure did.
So Sheri's going to demonstrate with one of our training horses here about what a good soft, light horse looks like while you're leading.
So we got to keep in mind that when we're working with training horses, we want to be able to ask them first to step forward and give them the opportunity to know what we're doing. But then as we start to step forward, we expect them to be right there with us, like they're not even there at the end of the line.
Yes, and that was another thing that I learned about the definition of lightness is that the horse weighs no more than the lead rope in your hand or the rein when you're in the saddle.
So let's see how Pearl does.
Yeah. As Sheri leads the horse off here, notice how the drape never comes out of that lead. That horse never pulls against the feel and is right there with her. Same thing when she stops her. This horse is very much connected to her and not the lead. And even as Sheri increases her movement and her energy, the horse matches and stays right with her. That is a very soft and light horse. I hope you were able to see how light this horse is when Sheri was leading her around. And it's truly a joy to have a horse that's with you like she was.
And she didn't start off that way. It took us some practice, and it's a great 10-minute training session during the winter.
This little tip here is a great thing to work on in these colder months when you don't necessarily want to saddle up and ride, but you still want to spend time with your horse. But one thing that I always remember is, Sheri, your story about how you learned what a soft and light horse truly was, and it's quite the story.
Yes. Several years ago when I did a lot of training and working with Chris Cox down in Texas, I would take 2 days to haul down there. And I always took a horse. And I took a young filly with me this time, and there was an accident that night when I stayed overnight in Wichita, Kansas, on my way down there. And when I woke up the next morning, I found my filly had passed away. And it was just where it was a head trauma, and to make a long story short, I called Chris up and said, hey, I'm on my way down to Texas. I lost my horse. The people are willing to bury her for me, which, you know, was awful kind to them. And, but I don't want to go home. And he was like, come on down, I'll give you a horse to ride. And then I took a sad situation and took it into an amazing learning opportunity, because I was able to ride one of his trained horses, or horses that were in for training, and I really found out what softness was. What I thought was collection, softness, you know, whatever you want to call it, it was not what I thought it was. When you get on something that is trained to melt into your hands, and Greta says this a lot, getting that horse to melt into your hands is amazing. It was just like, it was a great opportunity for me to feel how that was, so I know what to work on now with all my horses at home. And this is a great way to start it. It's just as simple as handling them on the ground and getting them to be with you, and being in tune to your movements is what we call softness. Is, yep, I'm right there with you. You don't have to pull on me or anything. I'm right there with you.
They start following the feel rather than the cue or the lead or anything. They're following you because they're connected with their rider. And
Absolutely.
There's no better joy to ride than a horse that follows that feel.
Absolutely, and that's what we're all about here at Cornerstone.
So if you would like an opportunity to have like what Sheri had and would like to ride one of our horses, we have several school horses here at Cornerstone Farm that we offer for to use for lessons. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you.
And the horses you ride
From our barn to yours.